Welcome back to World History. I hope you all had a good 4-day weekend and a happy Easter as well. Either spent time with family, maybe some friends as well. If you weren't able to go to a Easter church service, hopefully you all were able to listen to the radio or connect online to a service taking place. Remember, while the rest of the world is missing out on what they consider important on Easter, Easter egg hunts, the Easter bunny, getting all the candy that they want to be getting, we can be thankful in the fact that we celebrate Easter for the right reasons, for the eternal reasons. That reason being Jesus' resurrection from the dead. He is risen indeed, and we can be thankful for that. This is the first video on week 3 that you are getting. We've talked already in this chapter concerning, this is chapter 19, talking about imperialism. Imperialism in America, imperialism in Asia, and then imperialism in Africa. In Roman numeral 4, we're going to be talking about imperialism in the Balkans and the Near East. So let's go. For centuries, the Ottoman Empire had controlled this region, but by the 19th century, the Turks were no longer a mighty power. As the Turks' power declined, Europe's power had increased. Letter A. The Crimean War. This war took place from 1854 to 1856, and this war involved the countries of Britain, France, Sardinia, and the Ottoman Empire, all versus Russia. If you look at page 430, it shows you a close-up view of where the Crimean Peninsula is located. It's just north of the Black Sea. Also, if you're looking at this map right here, you can see that the Crimea is located right here. The Crimean Peninsula had been under Ottoman control for centuries, but its grip there had begun to loosen. As we had already mentioned, there was a new nickname associated with the Ottoman Empire. What had been the terror of the Mediterranean for hundreds of years was now known as the sick man of Europe. It was the nickname to describe the Ottoman Empire. That's what you need to know about it. Referring to that empire, Tsar Nicholas I remarked, "We have on our hands a sick man, a very sick man who can die suddenly." Well, Russia sought to hasten the sick man's death. Fearing a Russian victory would upset the balance of power, the rest of Europe, Britain, France, Sardinia, will join with the Ottoman Empire against Russia. Britain knew that if Russia took over the Ottoman Empire, Russia would have control of the Mediterranean Sea. France, under Napoleon III, simply desired glory. Sardinia, seeking to unify Italy, also aided Britain and France. In the end, Russia was defeated, and the Allies promised to keep the Ottoman Empire alive. Both sides were hampered by poor organization, supply difficulties, disease, and inept leadership. Russia was forced to surrender and agree to abandon its claims along the Black Sea for now. The Allies agreed that the sick man of Europe had to stay alive in order to maintain the balance of power, perhaps leaving him on life support indefinitely. We'll see how that goes. Letter B. Continued Russian expansion. Russia sought to gain additional territory by simply expanding its borders. While France, Britain, and others were establishing overseas empires, Russia was trying to expand itself. Russia's goal was to gain access to the Mediterranean and therefore declared war again on the weak Ottoman Empire. Russia won and claimed much of the Balkan region for itself. But the rest of Europe opposed the new claims. The new moves would upset the balance of power that Europe continued to favor. The Congress of Berlin took away some of Russia's claim to the Balkans. So Russia fights, defeats the Ottomans, but then is forced to give back much of its territory, conquered territory that it had gotten. Russia also hoped to take over Afghanistan and Persia. Persia, by the way, is modern-day Iran. But that also threatened Britain's control over India. And so the result was called the Anglo-Russian Entente. Anglo standing for England, of course Russian Entente simply means agreement. This Entente divided Persia into 3 zones. The northern zone would belong to Russia, the southern zone would belong to Britain, and then there would be a neutral middle zone. Afghanistan, which was also lumped into this territory, would also be a neutral zone as well. Russia also gained Manchuria from China, but then lost it to Japan during the Russo-Japanese War. Roman numeral 5. Results of imperialism. So a question might be asked, was imperialism a good or bad thing? And then maybe an extension of that, why was it good or why was it bad? If you've learned much from history, you recognize that just about every single action has consequences, and almost every single action has positive and negative consequences. So let's talk about the consequences. Letter A, negative results. One thing was Westerners exploited the people and wealth of their colonies. Territorial officials and foreign merchants amassed personal fortunes at the expense of the native populations. Some Europeans even abused the native people. So Westerners exploited the people and wealth of their colonies. Number 2, Western powers often ignored ancient tribal boundaries. This sometimes divided a tribe into 2 different colonies. This sometimes combined 2 enemy tribes into 1 colony, which led to constant conflict. And number 3, Westerners tended to downgrade native cultures. Many of the Africans and Asians resented having European culture imposed upon them. And then letter B, positive results. Though much wrong occurred because of imperialism, and I'm going to agree with that, most of what took place in imperialism was wrong. There was still some good that came of it too. For example, number 1, missionary outreach. God used imperialism to open foreign lands to the gospel, and places that had never heard of Christianity for the first time will hear about it thanks to the missionary outreaches protected by imperialism. Number 2, it established a written language for many of the native people. This would allow the Bible and other important works to be translated into their languages so they could read and understand it for themselves. Number 3, it promoted modern technology. They built schools, hospitals, public buildings, railroads, and industry to these regions of the world. So modern technology came to these parts of the world. And lastly, they did seek to abolish the slave trade. Europe by this point had gotten rid of slavery, and now they wanted to end it completely around the world, which they will more or less succeed in doing. That's all the notes that we're going to cover today. Actually, that's all the notes for the chapter. That, my students, is the end of the notes. What I want you guys to be doing is, for tomorrow and for the next couple days, first of all, your homework is page 177 and 178 in your activities book. That is the chapter review, so there'll be some underlining the keywords, matching section, couple short answers, and a couple essays that I expect you to do. That will be due in your packet. By the way, good job on getting your packets. Every single one of you succeeded in turning in your first week's packet and picking up your second week's packet. Just a reminder, though, some of you guys need to remember to also turn in the activities page homework that is assigned. Tomorrow and Thursday is your review and test day. Your Chapter 19 test is located in the packet, and you will need to take it sometime this week. There will be one more video posted this week that will begin Chapter 20. Hope you all have a good rest of the day. Be good, do good. Bye.